Hello and welcome to Merlin's Manor. Recently I did a video about top 10 stocking stuffer games, and today I wanted to go over the ones that didn't quite fit into stockings. There was a few that I really wanted to include on that list but couldn't because they just wouldn't quite fit in there. And so these are 10 games that are slightly too big for stockings, but they're still small box games. Let's go ahead and jump right on to the first one, which is one that I thought was going to make it into the stocking, and then I realized it was just a little too wide to comfortably fit into a stocking, and so it's on this list now, and that is Vodoran Gardens from City of Games, designer Frank West. And so this game is a bit of a puzzly game. I really enjoy that aspect of it, in that you are going to be selecting which card you're going to go for the next round, and put your marker on there, and you're going to take the card that your marker was on, and you're going to play one of the cards from your hand, and they have different terrain on them and different icons on that terrain. You're going to be trying to get multiple icons into a grouping of that terrain so that you can score 1 point per space in that terrain that's connected if you have at least 3 icons in there. Plus those icons are going to allow you to go for different bonuses that are out there. You can score each bonus 1 time if you are able to do that throughout the game, and so you're going to be really just kind of focused on getting these linked in terrain, these different icons connected in there for both bonuses and to be able to score the terrain. Very puzzly, and really enjoy Vodoran Gardens. Another Frank West game is the Isle of Cats Explore and Draw. This is the flip and write version of Isle of Cats, which is in a much smaller, more easy to travel with box, and it plays slightly differently than Isle of Cats. You're still trying to get cats into your boat, and there are these different polyomino shapes, and you're drawing them in, of course, because it's a drawing game rather than a placement game. But then you've also got these columns and rows of cats and other cards that you are going to be selecting an entire column, and you're going to be writing that in your board. Plus you have these different powers that allow you to do different things. One of them is to let you do a row instead of a column, and you're allowed to use 3 of those throughout the course of the game out of the 5. And you can only use 1 per round, and so you kind of have to keep an eye on what you want to be able to do and not waste those powers by forgetting to use them. And so you got several rounds to be able to, again, get as many cats into your boat as you can, scoring very similar to Isle of Cats, getting points for families together of the same color, getting points for lesson cards that you pick up along the way, and treasures are going to help you out. Just all these different things you get in Isle of Cats with a slightly different drafting mechanic there, and really enjoy Isle of Cats Explore and Draw as kind of a smaller version, a more travel-friendly version of Isle of Cats, as well as it does kind of offer a slightly different way of playing to mix things up a little bit. Next one I want to talk about is another polyomino type of game that is a flip and write game, and that is Cartographers. In this game you are making out a map, and there are going to be cards are going to flip over that are going to give you tiles that you can draw into your board. A couple different options there, and you are trying to get these different goals. There are 4 goals throughout the game, and during the first round you're going to be doing goals A and B, and then B and C, then C and D, and then D and back to A as well. So you have a couple different goals each round that you're going to be scoring, and you kind of know what's going to come up ahead of time, so you can kind of work towards the future goals, as well as work on the goals that you are working towards right there. Very fun, chill, kind of flip and write game with polyominoes. If you really love drawing, this can especially be a good game for you, because you can kind of get really fancy with it if you want to, but you don't want to get too fancy with it, don't really care that much about drawing. You can just do very basic shading in of those different shapes. Kind of a chill game. Enjoy it. Cartographers. Next one I'm going to talk about is Diced Veggies. And this is a dice drafting game, as well as you're going to have cards that you're going to be fulfilling different recipes on. So what you're going to do is you are going to take and you're going to slice off amount of dice that add up to less than 10 on the pips that are on the edge of this group here. And so you're going to draft those different dice that are going to represent different ingredients that you're going to be using. And so there are different colored dice are going to be the different ingredients. And the numbers oftentimes are just going to be about, not only, you can only go up to 10 on there, but also going to relate to some special cards that you can use to enhance your recipes to get more points out of them. And so just a really kind of a fun dice drafting game, fairly quick game. Enjoy Diced Veggies from Kids Table Board Gaming. The next game we're going to talk about is also from Kids Table Board Gaming, that is Cafe Barris. In this game, you are running a coffee shop, and you have these multi-use cards that you can either pay the amount for them in order to add them to your tableau of different things that you have in your cafe, whether it be ingredients or decor or whatever, or you can go ahead and serve the customer with them to get coins, which you can then use to be able to buy the things that you need for your shop later on, or you can serve them as a regular customer. And to do that, you have to be able to fulfill all of the different things that they are wanting, as well as the decor that they want, and then you tuck those under for points at the end of the game. And when you've gotten a certain amount of those, that triggers the end game there, and whoever has the most points is going to win. You also have these different goal cards that you're going to be trying to fulfill that are special guests, and when you're able to fulfill those, you're able to score the points for those. So enjoy kind of the engine buildingness of this game. It's kind of a chill game as well. The next game I'm going to talk about is Three Dragon Ante, and this is a game I've been wanting to do a full review on for some time now, and I'll probably get around to that at some point, but it's a game I don't hear a lot of people talking about, so I don't think a lot of people really know much about this game. In this game, you are going to have these different dragons, with some of them have good powers and some of them have evil powers, and you're going to be using those powers to get money at times or cards at times. And you are also going to be trying to win the ante. You're going to ante with whatever is the highest dragon value that people put out as the ante. And then you are going to then try to win the pot by having the highest numbers by the end of the round when you add all your dragons together. Or there is one card in there that kind of flips things and makes it to where it has to be the lowest number if that one gets played and actually is able to have its power activate. And the way powers activate in this game is you have to play a lower value number than the person that played right before you. And so in order to have that power activate, you have to actually have some of the lower numbers there for them to activate. And so you're trying to activate some dragons by using the one that's lower than the person that just played, and for the other ones you're trying to just try to win that round so you can then lead off and then hopefully have the highest number overall in order to win the whole ante there. And so there's a couple different strategies in there, whether you're going to focus that round on using your lower numbers to have those powers go off, or if you're going to try to just go all in on winning the pot for that round. And at the end of the game is triggered when somebody is out of money completely at the end of a round, and then whoever has the highest money wins the game. So it's a fun game. Look forward to a full review at some point on the channel. Now let's get into a Christmas-themed one here, and that is Patchwork Christmas. And there are many different patchwork games. If you want one that has a more ubiquitous theme, you can go ahead and get one of the other ones, but this is a great one for around Christmas time. And so in this game, it's a two-player only game, and you are going to be drafting these different quilt tiles that you're going to try and fit onto your board. And some of them are going to have buttons on them. They're going to give you income every time you pass a certain area on the board. And as you grab these tiles, you're also going to move up on the shared board of kind of a time board here. And some are going to cost more time than others. And whenever you are behind on time, you're going to get to keep on playing until you pass the other player's marker, and then they're going to play until they get ahead of you, and so on and so forth, until you both reach the end of the board. At that point, you are going to score however many buttons you have at the end. There's an interesting thing that the buttons that you are getting, you're going to need to spend to be able to get some of the tiles out there, but then there are also going to be victory points at the end, so you're kind of balancing there, and then at the very end you're going to pass one final income before you get to the end, so you want to have as many buttons out there on your quilt as you can so you can get those. There's also a special tile for getting a 7x7 grid first that's going to give you some points, and so I just really enjoy this polyomino placement game, Patchwork. The next one I want to talk about is Welcome To. And this is a flip and write game where you are designing a neighborhood, and what's going to happen is you're going to have 3 cards flipped up that are paired with a bonus that you can use, and you're going to pick one of those pairings of number and bonus to then write a number on one of your 3 rows on your board. And this is actually the Christmas edition here, that they have a special one here, and so you're going to write somewhere on there, and the numbers have to be in ascending order from left to right, and so you need to kind of plan out where you can place those. And you can place them anywhere on the row. You don't have to do them in order, but then you kind of have to account for the numbers lower and higher that you're going to need to place in there along the way. And so you're going to score for the different bonuses different ways. Trees are going to give you points the more of those that you get, as well as pools kind of especially kind of ascend there. And there's only specific spots that have pools on them. You can see that some of those have a little pool on them. And so if you can put one that has a pool on it, number-wise, you can choose that bonus and put it where there isn't a pool, but you just won't get the bonus there to mark off. There are some that are going to allow you to raise or lower the number up to 2 points if you need to. You've got another one that's you're going to cross off these numbers. They're going to give you stuff for special enclosures, fenced-in areas. You got fences that are going to allow you to fence in those areas to be able to get those points, as well as to go after these different goal cards. I really enjoy the puzzle that Welcome To offers. You have to kind of mentally think out where you want to write those numbers that you think you'll be able to fit those in, as well as going after all the different bonuses. The Christmas one adds a different extra thing where you write in some Christmas lights, and you want everything to be in exactly ascending order: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The highest number that you have of that are in exact ascending order, you're going to get bonus points at the end, 1 for each one of those. And so it kind of incentivizes you to keep them in order directly instead of going 1, 3, 5. Try and get them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so as a little extra thing, there's a bunch of other expansions that you can get for this. Add different extra little things in there that kind of change up the base game ever so slightly, adding a little extra challenge there. That's Welcome To. Next one I want to talk about is Star Trek Super Skill Pinball. And there's a whole line of super skill pinball games that play fairly similarly, but they have some different ways that the mechanics change up and the themes are different. I chose this one both because I like the Star Trek theme, as well as some of the games I saw how they played, and I really liked how they played. And this is a game that if you're playing solo is a beat your own score kind of game, which is one of the few beat your own score solo games that I have enjoyed playing. You can also play this game multiplayer, but I've only played it solo personally. But it would play well multiplayer as well, although you are kind of taking turns separately, and somebody can get done ahead of everybody else if you lose your pinballs early. And so you're kind of waiting for everybody to finish up there. It's kind of the disadvantage of that. And the reason I like this even as a solo game with beat your own score is probably the theme of the pinball there, where really pinball is kind of a beat your own score and beat other people's scores, can kind of get better and better kind of thing. So maybe it's the theme that helps me enjoy this, but you have these pinballs that you are trying to keep them, of course, from falling down in, and you're going to be marking off things as you go to be able to score points, and you're going to mark off your bumpers as you go, which are kind of your saving kind of things. And eventually you're going to run out of things that you can do, and you're going to lose the balls for that round, and then you're going to move into another round until you get to the end of the game, and you're going to add up the score basically that you got. It's kind of a fun little thematic game there. And the final one I'm going to talk about is a small box version of Ticket to Ride, and that is Ticket to Ride London. I've only played a couple of the small box versions, this and San Francisco. This is my favorite of the two that I have played. And this is good if you just want to play Ticket to Ride in about 30 minutes or less. You can knock this one out. Adds its own little thing with this system of trying to get these, not just the tickets that you need to get, but it also adds these little kind of getting these different areas filled in, and so that you can get extra points that way. And so if you like Ticket to Ride but want a version that you can play really quickly or that travels well, Ticket to Ride London is one that I recommend for that. Anyway, these have been 10 games that I would recommend that are kind of smaller box games, but just a little too big to fit into a stocking. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and you can check out my stocking stuffers video if you haven't already done so here, or you can check out this one, which is my top 25 through 11 video. I encourage you to check those out if you haven't already done so, and I hope you have a great week and keep on gaming.